Yo, what's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we got some breaking news for you guys as the New York Jets are trading for Browns defensive tackle Jowon Briggs. They're also acquiring a 2026 7th-round pick, and all of that in exchange for a 2026 6th-round pick. It's that time of the season with roster cutdown day just 6 days away. You will see a lot of these trades where it's a team acquiring a player and a 7th-round pick, and then the team who is acquiring those will send out a 6th-round pick as well. But this is why you guys hit that subscribe button. Anytime we get breaking news around your New York Jets, we will have a video for you guys ASAP. I mean that. No matter what I'm doing, where I'm at, I could be out at the bar, I could be at dinner, I'll hop in my car and make a video for you guys ASAP. So if you guys could help me out here, hit that subscribe button today. It really does go a long way here on the channel. It just really helps us get this video out to more and more Jets fans. So if you guys have not already and want to stay up to date around your New York Jets, hit that subscribe button today. All right, so we're going to talk about Jowon Briggs here first, just the player, who he is, how did he perform last year for the Cleveland Browns, and then I do want to talk about the defensive tackle position because I think it's on the table and probably likely right now that Derek Nottie, the veteran, does not make the 53-man roster. And if you would have told me that 4 months ago when the whole offseason started, I would have said you were crazy, but a guy who was already on the roster bubble heading into the final week of the preseason, and now with the Jets trading for another defensive tackle, I think it is fully on the table that he does get cut. And then I also do want to give you guys more thoughts on the Diana Russini report from earlier today where she was talking about the Jets trading for a wide receiver. So let's talk about Jowon Briggs here first, though. So started off his collegiate career from 2019 to 2020 at Virginia. Then he transferred to Cincinnati for his sophomore, junior, and senior year from 2021 to 2023. And then he joined the Browns after the NFL draft, where this past season, in a very limited sample size, only played in 133 snaps, played just the majority of the second half of the season for the Cleveland Browns, but he graded out pretty damn well. His overall PFF grade was 72.2, and that was 23rd out of 220 eligible defensive tackles. His pass rush grade was 64.7, which was 60th, and his run defense grade was 66.5, which was 30th in the league. So at least when he was out there, he showed solid production, and obviously with the Browns drafting Mason Graham, they got some dogs at the defensive line position. It does make sense that they would be trying to just acquire more draft capital, improve their 7th-round pick for next season. They get it upgraded to a 6th-round pick, so it makes sense on the Browns side of things. Now on the Jets side of things, a huge topic of conversation this offseason has been who's going to be that defensive tackle next to Quinnen Williams, because we know that defensive line, honestly the whole front seven, you got dogs at every single position. Like, you love what you got in Jermaine Johnson. You love what you got in Will McDonald. Obviously, you really love what you got in Quinnen Williams. Then at the linebacker spot, you love Quincy. You love Jamie and Sherwood. Like, it checks every single box of a front seven except for that defensive tackle next to Quinnen Williams. Now, am I saying Jowon Briggs is going to come in here, change life, be that superstar defensive tackle next to Quinnen? No, but he will be another good depth piece. I honestly think when the Jets' final depth chart comes out, when it's all said and done, it will be Jay Tufele and then Quinnen Williams at the defensive tackle spots, and then behind him will probably be Jowon Briggs. And, Briggs is a solid player. Obviously barely has played in the NFL, and, I just think this is mainly for the Jets to, give themselves, honestly, I don't want to call it an out from Derek Nottie, but now this makes it very easy for them to cut him because, we heard a lack of effort. He just has been kind of disappearing during training camp and OTAs, and with adding a guy like Jowon Briggs, it just makes that a lot easier to cut him when the season does roll around. So I think this is a solid move for the Jets. Obviously, when you have these, pick swaps for a player, like, these aren't any needle-moving moves, but, Darren Muji picking up the phone, calling Cleveland, trying to get some more depth at that defensive tackle spot. I like it. But again, it's not going to be a needle mover by any means. So, hey, Jowon Briggs, welcome to the New York Jets. Like this move. Just more depth at that defensive tackle spot is obviously huge. And, we can talk about Derek Nottie. I think he's going to get cut. I think he was about 50-50 chance, before this move. I would honestly drop it down to like a 10% chance he makes the team. Now, Will he play a lot in the last preseason game? TBD. Aaron Glenn did already say that the Jets aren't going to be playing any starters. Now, obviously, Derek Nottie not a starter, but he is a veteran, and maybe he could be a guy where the Jets cut him and he just goes and signs with another contender. There's a depth piece there, but, it's crazy how fast things can change in the NFL world where, heading into the season, like you pull up Jets depth charts from a couple months ago, like this guy was the undisputed starter next to Quinnen. And now he probably has a 25% chance to make the final roster. Now, I could also see the Jets doing the same thing the Browns just did, where maybe they trade Derek Nottie to a team for a 6th-round pick. They also attach a 7th-round pick. That could well be on the table. It could honestly be the same trade or the same pick that they just got for the Cleveland Browns. Just send their 7th-round pick, get a 6th-round pick back in return, and you send Derek Nottie elsewhere. So I think the defensive tackle spot next to Quinnen Williams, it's going to be Jowon Briggs and Jay Tufele at that position. But I do want to wrap today's show up quickly talking about the Diana Rossini report from earlier today, where she said the Jets were calling teams about a potential wide receiver. Now, I said it on the show earlier. Terry McLaurin makes absolutely zero sense. The Jets want to be a run-first, defensive-minded football team. And Terry McLaurin, he wants DK Metcalf money. He wants Garrett Wilson money. Are you going to pay 2 wide receivers $30+ million per year and you have that identity of a football team? Probably not. Now, if the Jets were in a position where, like, obviously the Eagles are a defensive-minded football team, run-first offense, but they're a Super Bowl contender. That's why they're paying A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith big money. But even Devontae Smith isn't getting $30 million per year. If you're paying 2 guys like that, big-time money, you better have an offense like the Cincinnati Bengals where you're passing all over the lot. So Terry McLaurin, I'm out on that deal. But one guy that I would be a fan of is Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce, wide receiver of the Indianapolis Colts. And you may be saying, well, why is he on the trade block? They may be trying to get Adonai Mitchell more reps this upcoming season. If you just remove Pierce, obviously he's going to have to step up and play a massive role. And Pierce being one of the best deep threats in the National Football League. I mean, the guy averaged 22 yards per catch last season. And now with Daniel Jones starting, it's not a good match. It's not a good fit for him in Indianapolis anymore. And from the Jets side of things, I think it would be a great fit because clearly they were looking for a deep threat. There's a reason they drafted Arian Smith in the 4th round, which, teams probably had a 5th, 6th round grade on him. Jets didn't want to take that risk. They decided to take him in the 4th. And, obviously they're hoping Arian Smith can develop into that elite NFL deep threat. Well, Alec Pierce is already that. So if you could get a more proven commodity, I think that makes some sense. And he is heading into a contract year. So if you are going to trade for him, you have to also pretty much already have the contract extension locked up. Because if you give up some premium draft capital for Pierce, you're probably going to have to give up a 3rd-round pick. I mean, this would be a blockbuster trade if it will go down. You're going to already have to have them locked up. You're not trading a 3rd-round pick, especially in the position the Jets are in right now, for a rental. So I would be in on Alec Pierce. Watch out for Jacoby Myers as well. And then, again, you could also go sign a guy like maybe a Brandon Powell, maybe an Amari Cooper. But if that's what's on the table, I would just rather have the Jets, go in the direction of, developing the young guys. But if you are going to go for a proven commodity, have it be Alec Pierce or Jacoby Myers. But Terry McLaurin, I know we all want that Ohio State connection. I just don't think it makes too much sense. But, hey, I appreciate all of you guys watching today's show. 2nd video of the day. So make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button on your way out. See you guys next time. Go Jets.